Right, welcome to another edition of the Oconnor Angle. We are at Cottington Lakes. It's a place close to our hearts, and it's a place that we've done well in the past, isn't it?
Yeah, very well in here. We came here for a match, if I remember rightly. We won it, and we decided we needed to investigate more about this place, which we did. And we've caught several 40s and 30s out of it. They're stunning fish. Absolutely stunning. I've never seen fish like it anywhere. So yeah, it is very close to our heart, and I love coming down here. I do.
I know it's one of your excuse me, it's one of your favourite venues. It is mine. And I say we are honorary bailiffs here. We look after it while we're on the bank for the lads and that. They've got a great team here of bailiffs and the owners and that. But we'll go through some fish stocks now, and I believe there's about 150 fish. There might be a few more. It's just give or take. But I know 50 of them are over £30, which straight away to a lot of you. Probably eyebrow raising now, thinking, oh, I need to look at this venue. In the winter, I'd say from that November period to March, there's 16 different 40s that we know of, and then obviously after March through to November, there's about 12, give or take. I mean, just that is impressive alone,
Awesome,
isn't it?
Absolutely awesome. It really is.
It's, I mean, there's two lakes here. We're on the new lake at the moment. You've got the old lake, which is behind my shoulder, and it's joined with a channel, so it's quite interesting. You've got to try and get, you've got to be on the right lake at the right time, because some of them could be in there, then again they could all be in here. But I would say generally if it's warm in the old lake, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And then when it drops down, sometimes more in the new. But sometimes they do catch you out. I mean, we've been here before, haven't we? We've been in here and then they've been in that one. But
you see them move out, go down the channel.
Yeah, exactly. This is the place where we run the elite. If you go back onto previous videos, you'll see all the lads competing in the elite Carp Masters, which me and Dad run. But we've come on at a time which I think there's only been 2 out in there in the last week.
Yeah,
we're coming into winter now.
It's not fished well at all. And
it's not fishing well, is it? So we're up against it. And if it goes wrong, we're blaming Mike. It's always Mike's fault, as usual.
Yeah.
So we've got to have someone to blame. We're carp anglers, haven't we? You never blame ourselves, we've got to blame someone else.
Right. Some say good old Mike, others tell the truth, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go, it's Mike's fault. But the rods are out. Like I say, it's Friday morning. I've booked a day off of work. The lake's going to be getting busy though, mate.
Yeah, I've had a look at the bookings, and there's people coming on today and tomorrow. It's rammed, it's fully booked.
Yep.
But I like it like that because I think it tends to move the fish around in the swims. As you know about, if there's vacant swims, that's where the fish are going.
Yeah, that is right. And I will say on Cottington, obviously it's a booking system. So the one thing I will say is, as long as you obviously book to come on, and it guarantees you a swim. It's not like I would say lately in fishing where you rush into a lake and you're like, am I going to get a swim now? You definitely will get a swim if you book on. But the fact of it is, I mean, once you get here, I mean, obviously you're here, but there's gaps sometimes, and then fish end up in them. But when it is busy, we've noticed that you can bounce the fish sometimes, isn't it?
Fish move around a lot, don't they?
Yeah, it is. But that's where we are. We're going to have a nice cup of tea now, I think, get our heads together and try and crack one of these fish. It's not going to be easy. We're coming into winter, but as usual, we put it on the line. You guys know that. And it's live as such. So time for a cup of tea, and we'll catch up with you soon. Right, just coming into I'd say late afternoon now, isn't it?
Yeah,
the
sun's just starting to go down.
It's been pretty quiet today. We've had a couple of liners. I did have quite a big liner earlier on. Thought we was away, but we weren't. But we're going to come and have a chat with Dad now about swim choice. Obviously, fishing here for 10 years, etc., probably longer than that. He knows a fair few spots, etc., and it might help you guys out. So, Dad, I'm going to come to you. What swim are you actually in then?
I'm in peg 11,
right,
which is one of my favourite pegs.
Yep.
Fished at it for years. It gives you quite a bit of water, peg 11. Out there's posts that are your boundaries. The boundaries were moved a few years ago, and when they put the posts in, for some reason it gives this swim a lot of water, whereas before it didn't have as much. So I'm quite happy because I've got a lot of water. And
right, okay, yep.
I'm only using 2 rods, but you could put 6 rods out there and lose them. From over there on the post, going right across to another post behind the island, you can't see there's a bar there.
Right, yeah.
And that's quite a good spot in the summer. I don't normally put a bait on there in the winter because it's too shallow. But having said that, the water level's up now.
Right.
And if you go over the bar, there's 2 troughs.
Right. Okay.
Right, and you can find them with a marker or with a depth finder on your boat or whatever. You can really find them quite easy. And I try to get in the troughs if I can.
Right, okay,
I'll definitely put one over right by the island and get in the troughs. And when we send the boat out there with the echo on, invariably we see quite a few fish out there, don't we?
Yeah, normally you do.
I mean, some of them might be bream or pike, I don't know, but sure enough, we do catch over there. The other hot spot is if you go to the right of my swim and just go over the bar again, there's a trough there.
Yeah.
I usually drop one in there. That's a good spot. The margin, never rule out the margins down here. In any of the pegs, the margins have always been pretty fruitful for me. So I would definitely have one out there, if not 2, if not one out there, and one in the margins.
Right, okay.
The area of open water this side of the bar can be productive, but you need to see them there, and if you see them, they'll be this side of the bar.
Right, yeah.
Put a bait on them.
Right, okay. That's fair enough.
You can't go over to this island because that's in Thames water. So, but yeah, I think the swim offers you everything. You've got an island, you've got open water, you've got margins.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, to be fair, in 11 you do get quite a bit of water in 11. And the good thing about it is that gives you options, doesn't it? Like if you're here for 48, you can try a couple of spots first night. If it don't happen, get on a couple of other spots. I mean, the other thing that we haven't mentioned is you got all of that back island up there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, well, there is another post out there you can't see, but I do get most of the back island. But Peg 10 gets some of it, and Peg 14 gets some of it.
That's fair. So if we go through, well, obviously it's only a 2-rod fishery. Yeah. So I've just seen Mango, he's got me fish and chips, but we'll continue. So right, if we start off then, we'll start off with your left-hand rod then. So where exactly is your left-hand rod at the moment?
My left-hand rod is a point out there, if you can see the point. I'm about, 5 foot of water just off of that point. I reckon half a rod length off of that point.
Right, okay.
I've dropped a bait there and I've put a handful of baits around it, and that's it for me. Because there's a lot of bait goes in here, and you just don't... you just don't know what's out there. There's so much out there, isn't there?
That is the one, just butting in a sec, that is the one thing I will say with, it's probably the same with any day ticket, but on these small pressured ones, that is the problem. You don't know what you're fishing over, do you? You know what I mean? So sometimes you've got to think about it, ain't you, mate? That's
right, yeah. I mean, that's why I normally go out with just a single bottom bait pop up with no more than about 5 or 6 baits around it. Sometimes I don't even do that. I just drop it like it was a zig, just a single bait. But that's where I've got one there. I had a few liners there this morning, but nothing materialised.
Right, okay.
My second rod.
If we come over to the right hand now, so where's your right hand rod then?
It's right on the border of my swim and number 14.
Right.
It's been quite productive for me over the years. So what I did, I put bait out there and I caught fish.
Right.
But I think people got to learn about it, and more bait was going out. So what I do now, I just send a single bait out there and drop it, and it's been successful for me. Not at the moment today, but But again, we can go to the right. There's we've got margins with reeds.
Yeah, it looks quite good down there.
It does, doesn't it? So maybe tomorrow I might change one rod and put it down the margin.
Right, okay.
I won't go left because it's quite close to 10, but I would go right.
Yeah, there's quite a gap there, isn't there, between you two, like. But yeah, I mean, so we'll come on more to bait, etc. later on in the session and that. But yeah, as you can see, Dad's in peg 11. But there are quite a few pegs like this, that you do get quite a bit of water. There are posts everywhere. Yeah. So you know exactly where you are, and in most of the swims as well. If you look on the borders of the swims, it actually tells you your boundaries as well. So it's well thought out. I mean, the team down here have done a grand job with all of that. Yeah. And but yeah, I like 11 as well. It is a good swim. It's normally catches in the elite, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It does do a few bites 11, but to be fair, most of them do on here. So it's. But I think if we go down to my swim, then I'll run through some stuff with you in peg 9. And
just getting back to this one, I always feel whenever we're fishing or if we're in matches, try and get as much water as you can, and 11 and 14 give you the most water. but it doesn't mean to say you won't catch in the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some other good spots on here as well.
Right, okay, well, like I said, and like Dad says, I think that's swim 11 done now, and it could be one to look out for, boys, if you turn up here and have a go yourself. But we'll go down to my swim and we'll go through some tactics in 9.
Right, Ben, we're in your swim now.
Yep.
Just let us know why you've chosen this one and why you fancy it.
The famous peg 9, eh?
Yeah.
Ben's swim, as they call it. It's I don't know, I've just done well in here, and over the past. It's excuse me. It's I don't know. It's just one of those swims. Sometimes on lakes you just go to swims and they're the ones for you. I mean, as you can see in the background, you've got a nice margin there which no one can touch. That is one of the key spots in line. You know, you've got 2 great trees to get under or around, whichever way you want to do it. You've got the tip up there as well, and again over the back. You know, there's a lot of overhangs over there, as you can see, and I mean that's just that side of the swim. Again, that's produced so many big fish for me over the years, like them 2 sides, and then the edge down here as well. It's they're just it's a swim that I think a lot of people, when they come through on that car park, they come whizzing down this track, they see them islands, and they're like, oh, there's an island, I've got to get on it, I've got to get on it. And they're walking past some of, you know, the best swims on the lake sometimes.
Right.
You see it quite a lot on here. And but yeah, I mean, well, you've seen the results I've had, even just dropping them down the edge. I mean, out in the middle here, it's pretty, it is up and down out here. I've caught out in the middle and that, but I would say this one's more of the edge swim as such. Obviously you've got the entrance there as well, which goes into the old lake. So the way I look at it as well, if they want to go in one lake, they've got to pass you. You know, it's the same. It's the same with swim 8. Do you know what I mean? Swim 8's the same. Excuse me, which is on the old lake. It's a traffic swim, as I call it. There's always traffic in these swims, in my opinion. Doesn't mean to say they're always going to feed in them entrances, but you're never far away from them. And like I say, I wanted to swim, got called Ben's swim because I live in here pretty much, didn't I, at one point? It was, you know, I liked it that much. But
and there's a thing in here called Ben's Hole as well.
Yeah, there is, mate. Yeah,
that you found
the famous hole, and yeah, like I say, I caught a lot of fish out of that hole. There's a few drop-offs out here, and yeah, that spot was that's become well known, isn't it? Well famous now, old Ben's Hole, and not in a dirty way, of course, but it's well documented. And yeah, she's out here, that hole, but there's quite a few. I mean, like up here it comes what was it, pike? It just comes up to about 3 foot in here, but then it does drop down to like 7 foot. So you've got best of both worlds in this swim. You know, if it goes up, you've got a bit of shallow. If it drops, you've got a bit of depth. But the main areas, I would say, are probably the margins here, because no one can touch you. You know, no one can. You can go around and bait up, or if you've got a boat like we have, you know, you can go right up to them bushes, and you're literally putting it on their dining room table, aren't you, really, you know. But yeah, that's the swim that I like. This is probably, I would say, my favourite swim on the lake. You know, there are a few others. I like 11. Obviously, Bailiffs is all right. There's a couple in the old lake. But yeah, this is Ben's swim. This one, mate. This is it's given me many good memories at Cottington, I must admit, mate. So. Just hope we can get one now. Like I say, it's a bit quiet. I did have a liner earlier, but so I don't know if they're coming in or going through. But hopefully, before the end, we'll have something to show, mate.
Hopefully, yeah, we need it.
So, like I say, it's fish and chips time now, and I'm starving. I'm sure the rest of the crew are. So let's get and have something, yeah.
Yep. See.
Well, as you can see, we've got a good mate down here called Mango. And if you get in with him, this is what can happen, isn't it, chaps? Hey, what have you got then?
Well, I've got sausage and batter and chips.
Right.
Chicken nuggets and chips, mate.
Chicken nuggets and chips?
Yeah.
How old are you, 4?
Add 41, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. Then chicken, I've got Savoy and chips. Thing is with it, he don't mind if you knock at his door and go down the chip shop for you all. You know what I mean? It's all right. He loves it. Not just knock on his house and say, Mango, go down the road and get some chips and that. He loves it. And if you're here in the summer, he's only got a swimming pool in his back garden. He loves it. He loves people knocking on his door and coming in his house to go and have a swim. So remember that, yeah?
Or you can phone him.
Yeah, or just ring him. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. But while we're on the subject of food, we had a banging casserole last night, didn't we?
Didn't we? Yeah.
Courtesy of my Mrs. Faye. That was absolutely beautiful. I'll give you that, babe. Sorry, Mike, there weren't enough left for you, mate. So you missed out. You can have a go at her when you see it at the elite, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was banging, babe. Appreciate it. So as you can see, dinner time for us. And just remember, Mango's always here to go and get your dinner. Right, well here we are. First light. And we've got one on. So it is early. And the right hand rod has finally gone. So let's hope we can get our first one in. There we go. Yeah, in there, mate. So first light. Fine there, bud.
Well done.
We sort ourselves out and have a cup of tea, let it get light a little bit, and then we'll go through it. But yeah, looks a good one anyway. Mustard. Right, here we go. One of the big ones, 30, 40. 44 and a half.
Yeah, go for that.
Yeah, it's a fish called drop scale. 44 and a half. She does normally go up to. She's one of those that she goes up and down, doesn't she? This fish, you know what I mean? In the summer she's 40, 41. This time of year she's normally getting on to 46. As you can see, drop scale 44 and a half. I'm gonna bung her in just to have a cup of tea. Let her settle down a bit. She'll give me a good fight.
And then we'll do some pictures.
Yeah, good start, mate. Anyway,
yeah, well
great.
done. Well done.
So, cup of tea first. Right, it's time now to get. It's a fish called drop scale out. It's second in command here, and well, so we popped it down the edge just for a little while. The light's here now, and let's get her out. All 44 pound of her, eh? There she is. Lovely. Oh, she is a big one. There she is, the famous drop scale from Cottington. She's second in command, 44 pound 8, absolutely over the moon. I have had her before, and I've had her at 45.12 to be fair. But yeah, she's the second biggest in this lake, and like I say, it was a tremendous fight, as you see. Give me the run around. But yeah, what a fish! This is what you come to Cottington for. There she is, cracker. Scale pattern is just phenomenal here, and yeah, what a beauty. So let's turn her around quickly. So you notice her through that one there, that scale there, hence the name drop scale. That's to give away that one. So for people, if you catch her in the future, look out for that. And there's the other side. As you can see by that scale, she gets the name drop scale. But yeah, absolutely over the moon with that. And it wasn't the only bit of action that I had either, unfortunately. I lost one just before this as well, and a little, a couple of hour window, and yeah, I lost one which I'm absolutely gutted about as well, because the lake's fishing really hard, and but I suppose 44 pound 8 ounce, you ain't gonna worry too much, are you? Right, let's get her back. As you can see, Dad's got one on, and just finishing a cup of tea actually, and just going to come down and get Mike to do some bit of an update from last night, like, and out the blue, left hand rod's ripped off, so hopefully things are picking up, but we're going to go through a lot of detail soon, and so just hopefully we can get this one in. But it is fishing very, very tricky, but we'll let it go. Giving you a fight, mate, isn't it?
He is there for. He don't look massive, but he's welcome. The way the place is fishing.
They do struggle with it.
He's not massive like your one, but he's most welcome, I tell you. Very chunch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was out of the blue, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Totally out of the blue, that one, like I was saying. Just had a cup of tea, didn't we, mate?
Yep.
And went down to see mate, and came back up. Swing was buried in the buzzer.
Being off it went.
It's gone, so there you go, mate.
Well
Right.
pleased with that.
Yeah, we'll get him on the mat,
Yeah.
and we'll hold him up.
Not the biggest in the lake, but most welcome. It's fishing pretty hard at the moment. There's a lot of bait seems to be going in with the guys that have turned up. We just had a coffee when this one shot off. Give me a little scrap, but I'm well pleased to have caught him. Didn't weigh him, I reckon about £15, something like that. But yeah, scale perfect, lovely, isn't he?
Right, bit of an update. It's Saturday now. It's about 11:30. So we're just going to run through a little update with what went on last night. Late on last night, had a bite, playing it for quite a while, and I lost it. Now, the thing, right?
No, I'm fine.
All right. The thing is with it, not very good. You know, when you got a camera here live, it was the first fish that I've lost in 2 years on that rig. It's not the same one I've been using 2 rigs, 2 years. It's the same design as such.
No, it's the same one.
Yeah, love a rusty
It's
hook.
tight.
Yeah, and to be fair, if there was anyone up at that time, they probably would have heard what I was shouting across the lake.
And it began with F.
Yes.
It sounded like flipping heck.
Yeah. So, but not good. But then I got another chance, which I was grateful for. I mean, the lake is fishing extremely hard. You've got to remember, there's been 2 fish out, I believe, in a couple of weeks out of this lake. But yeah, what a fish, as you guys have seen, 44£8, fish called drop scale. Like I say, it's normally second in command on this lake. But yeah, to get a live 40, mate, that was, we weren't expecting that, was we?
That's right, no.
You know, I
we weren't
mean,
expecting
that's what Cottington's known for, the big scaly carp. So yeah, obviously it went quiet in my swim, which you would expect. Come up to Dad's end, and it's not really been happening up here for you, has it, mate? It's
No,
been
nothing.
dead, hasn't
It's been dead. It's been calm. There's no wind, and these guys that have turned up, I mean, they've paid to fish here, so it's up to them. But they are stoving a lot of bait in, which, in my opinion, and I don't know it's yours, it don't really work here on Pepper. But yeah, I was just sorting the boat out. We just had our breakfast or whatever, and I heard it go bing, and that was it. It was in. But I'm well pleased. I mean, it's not a big fish, but you know, beggars can't be choosers.
No, exactly.
It saves a blank. It was filmed live, so great. You know, I love it.
Well, we got some great action shots on it. So I mean, it's probably around a £15 mark. We didn't weigh it.
Yeah.
But it's the first bite out of this lake for 2 weeks in daylight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
know,
they've all been at night, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the update at the moment. So yeah, when you look at it, I mean, the place is rammed. there's 16 pegs, there's 16 anglers.
Yeah.
And there's been 3 bites. I've had 2, lost 1, Dad's had 1 and landed 1. So we're obviously doing something right. We're going to come on to the bait and the rig section as the show goes on. But I want to talk a little bit more like about, I mean, we're coming into winter now, lads. And this is a fine example. I'm just going to, like what Dad said about people putting in bait. Now, this lake's not fishing great. Let's get this straight. Now, a lot of people come here, they see all these big scalies on social media.
That's the thing.
They think, oh, Ben O'Connor, Barry O'Connor and Fred Bloggs, whoever, they're catching all these fish. All they've got to do is just turn up, throw a load of bait out. Lads, let's get it straight. It's not like that. This is not an easy lake, and it's fishing hard. And it's winter. I mean, I'll give you an example. 13 lads have turned up. Well, there's a couple of them opposite me. I've seen a couple of fish in front of their swim, and they've put out 2 kilos of boilies. I mean, really? I mean, I don't know where that these people fish, but if you're going to start putting in 2 kilos of boilies in winter, I can honestly tell you now, your catch rate is going to be 0.
Yeah.
You really need to look at it. This is a small lake. I mean, well, let's put it this way. I don't know what Dad's caught on, but I pretty much know the answer. So I'm going to say to you, did you catch that on a lot of bait?
No. And I put an handful of bait. I reckon there was about 8 baits in my hand. I've only got little hands.
Right.
And that's all I put in, plus the hook bait and a stick.
Right, so there you go. 9 baits, including the hook bait and a stick. Right, mine, 6 baits, with obviously 1 on the hair as well. 7 baits. These lads are lumping in 1 kilo, 2 kilos. I wouldn't like to think how many boilies are out
They're
this
spomming
lake.
as well,
Yeah.
so they're putting particles.
I can't get into my head. You know when it gets to a point where you want to say, all right lads, that's enough.
Yeah.
But you can't. They've paid their ticket, that's what they want to do. But to be honest with you, I think you'd be better off going down the pub with that money and actually having a night that you remember, because you ain't going to remember this. I mean, in my opinion,
we all fall the wrong things though.
Yeah, and it's going to be, there's no fish in it, it's everyone else's fault except theirs. And well, lads, I don't know, where everyone fishes who's watching this programme, but I'm going to say to you now, in winter, if you're going to use that amount of bait, you are going to struggle. You really do need to sit back. The thing that I can't understand is whether you watch this programme or whether it's another, a company one on YouTube, whatever, there is so much information out there on what to use and what not. Don't believe the hype with bait companies. Oh, you got to put kilos and kilos. Yeah, it's good for their sales. It ain't good for your catching though, isn't it?
That's right.
When you go home to
it's not good for the lake.
Exactly. When you go home to the missus and kids and say I've blanked again, don't look good, does it? So that's my opinion on it. And if you think about it, 16 anglers on here, 2 people are catching. Why?
Yeah. It doesn't bode well for the lake as well, because when they've gone, all that bait's gone in, and then the next lot turn up and they believe wrongly that no bait has gone in.
Exactly.
And all they do is top it up with more bait.
Exactly.
But the thinking anglers, the ones that do catch, say come here and they know the score. So a lot of them go out with just single hook baits, don't they? Or very little bait, and you're fishing over someone else's bait. So remember that if you do come here, a lot of bait normally doesn't work. There has been occasions in the summer. But
I was going to say that in the summer I've used a bit. Do you know what I mean? But when I mean used a bit, I've used half a kilo for 5 fish.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's, boys, if you're going to come here and stove it in, lads, you might as well save your money and go to the pub. I'm going to be honest with you, because this ain't the lake for you then. It's not a lake that's known for big beds of baits. Use just little and often, and then you will catch it at Cottington. It's not one of those stove it in, I can tell you that now. 80% of people that come here blank, I tell you that now. You know what I mean? Out of 100%, 80 of them will blank. Guaranteed it. The amount of bait they're using is just, well, I can't get my head around it, I really can't. And as this shows, Dad's had 1, I've had 2 bites, alright, I've lost 1, but I've had a 44 as well. So, but we're going to come on to bait in a minute. Obviously we're going to see what Dad's caught that on. It's probably going to be the same as what I have, and we'll go on to that now, I think.
Right, we're going to some bait details now. As we said earlier, we don't use a lot of bait here. We can't see the point. We catch by not using a lot of bait, so why change it? There are guys out here putting kilos and kilos of bait out, and they're yet to catch, but I think they're going to struggle. This is basically what I use in here. It's creamy coffee, right? and that's all the creamy toffee that I brought with me for 3 days. As you can see, there's still a lot in there. These ones here, we have these made for us by 82, and they're hardened duck baits. They are rock hard, and the reason they're rock hard is that wherever we go, whether it's here or anybody else, and there's bream and roach and that in here, our baits don't get whittled away. They will stay solid on the hair. This is one here, which is one of them, but it's swollen up and it's turned virtually white. So that's what happens to them when they're in the water. Now what I would do with that, this is crushed up and ground down creamy toffee, put it in a bag, and then I'll just friddle it on. This is for all you people who don't know how to do it. I know there's millions of you do. This is something me and Ben do all the time in case it hits some weed on the way down or whatever. So now the hook's buried in that, it's all safe. And then I'll just give it a bit of a squirt with this, which is creamy toffee. And you can see it soaking in. And that's basically what I do. Now, as I said, my hands are small, so I'll get an handful of baits. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, it's 10 there, so a bit more than I would normally use. And that's what I would put, either casting it out with a spom, or if in this case we're using a boat, I'd put it in the boat. I don't crush them up, I just leave them whole. We've got our hardened duck bait. These ones are softer, so the fish can whittle them down if they want, but they won't with them. And hopefully, it makes me catch the fish that I've caught. I've caught a little one. I'm well pleased with it because it's so hard at the moment with the fish in here. Hopefully I'll catch another one. But that's basically it. You don't have to do anything other than that. If you want to put kilos of bait in, go ahead. But I think you're going to go home with your tail between your legs. But we'll see. Hopefully catch another one later on. Right, here I am. I'm preparing the boat. We use this clip here because obviously it's a quick change clip. I think pike anglers use them, but we get the smaller ones, and because we can just clip a new bait on there ready to go. There's no big rigmarole of doing this and doing that, preparing everything. It's all done. Right, that goes in there. Just the thing about the boats, a lot of people think it's cheating. Well, they can think what they like, you know, their catch rates probably go down. And there is a train of thought that if you can't cast it to it, you shouldn't be fishing. I've yet to see anybody, other than Ben, that can cast on a sixpence. With the boat, bait placement is spot on. It goes where you send it. When you cast out, you can cast to a marker, float and all that. You're not going to tell me you get it spot on every time. But you will with a boat. And the problem is, all these casters say how good they are, and when you watch them, they do 5 or 6 casts before they get it into the spot. The boat goes there, drops it and comes back. That's why I use a boat. You can't use them on every lake, I know that, but I like using a boat. Right, handful of baits. How many we got? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's what I had to fish on. Placed them all round there, a couple over here. Break them up so they don't roll down the front, and that's basically it. Right, there she blows. He's holding the rod for me just to make sure the line pays out all right, and off the boat goes. While it's going out, I'm looking at the echo sounder, which will tell me the depths, and it will tell me if there's any fish about. The fish I just caught, I dropped the bait where there was no fish. I couldn't find any fish, but I went just over the bar, so that's what I'm going to try and do now. And that's it, it's done. It's dropped where I want it to be. Casting, I wouldn't know what was on the bottom. Casting, you'd be casting blind. Obviously I would use a marker, try and find something and interpret what's there and then cast to it. But with a boat it's so much easier. But the problem is, lots of people who've got boats want to put it miles from their swim, in other people's swims, and it just causes trouble. And that's why people ban boats. But in my experience, you get the same people doing the same thing casting. So, you know, but boats have got a bad name because of bad users. And that's why a lot of fisheries ban them. It's not the boat, it's the user. And here it is, it's back, done, all set up, as far as I'm aware. Job done.
Well, as you can see with Dad, he's into another one now. It's all happening for you today, mate, isn't it? Sounds like we've got Spitfires coming over the top. A couple of them, looks like it actually. But yeah, second one for Dad today. And it just goes to show, you know, what he was saying earlier on about the small amounts of bait. I mean, as I'm talking to you now, there's a boat stopping. You know, and he hasn't caught nothing, but he's still putting more. So I'm saying, if you come down here, it's worth listening to the tactics really, because there you go, proof's in the pudding, isn't it? He's got another one on there.
Come on, ghosty patrol. Same fish, isn't it? You what? Oh, I'm well pleased with it.
Oh, there you go. Well, he nearly fell in then. Oh, nearly went down the hole.
That would have been good for the camera.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, look at that. Well, there you go. It's number 2 for Dad.
In fact,
Yeah. That is a proper long one, that one, mate.
it is, isn't
That
it?
is a long fish. Look at that
I'm
one.
on ghosty patrol this time.
As you can see, that's a proper hook old days. We'll go through rigs, etc. a bit later on in the session, like I've already said. But as you can see, that's exactly where you want it, plumb in the bottom lip. So let's get him unhooked. There you go, it's easy as that. Let's get him on the scales. Oh, not as big as what we thought. You're going up close, going up in stages, aren't you? Yeah. Starting off at about £15. We're at 17-12, so he's gradually getting up.
Yeah, it's getting a bit higher.
At the,
Nice one.
yeah, cheers mate, thank you. One of the other anglers come down to congratulate Dad. But yeah, another one of Cottington's babies, but you don't care, do you, mate?
No, I'm well happy.
That's it, it's fish number 2. Obviously I've had one and lost one, so... And
Sorry, right, so the next one might be bigger.
yeah, the only bites of the lake, like I say, it's... People still want to spawn and people still want to bait up. You will keep watching us catch, well you just sit around, that's what's going to happen unfortunately on this lake, so take note of it.
Keep going and we'll have 3 by tomorrow.
That's it.
What was it, 17?
£17.12 that one, it's a lovely one that, lovely towel,
Yeah.
scale perfect.
Ghosty.
Obviously Dad's on a bit of a roll here.
Yeah.
First night nothing, but second day he's come into his own, like, you know. A couple of the smaller ones from Cottington, but like I say, he's the only one catching up this end, and you know, no doubt a bigger one hopefully will come. So, but yeah, beautiful fish as always in Cottington,
Yeah, I'm well pleased.
and I think it's time to get it back now.
Yeah.
Hopefully get a bigger one.
We're getting back out.
Yeah.
Go on, baby. Yeah, he's fine.
There we go. Fish number 3. Hopefully we can get number 4. Right, we're coming up to Saturday evening now, and to be fair, it's absolutely bloody freezing, isn't it?
It's got cold, isn't it? Real cold. Temperature's dropped drastically.
And I think it's time to get my bigger jacket on now, but as you've seen by the tactics today, I mean, you've had 2 today, mate, haven't you?
Yeah, 2
You know.
ghosties.
Yeah, you've had
I'm
2
on pest control, but there you go, I'm happy with it.
Well, there's a lot of people on here that would like them, mate.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
other anglers on that hasn't caught, but but yeah, so far so good. I mean, you know, it started off on the Friday, and like I say, we've had 3 and lost 1. I think Dad's just been a little bit unlucky with the sizes, but you've got to remember we're in winter. You know, I've just been a jammy so-and-so and just had drop scale, obviously at a very big weight, but like I say, we're still catching though, mate, aren't we?
That's right, I feel a bit confident for the night.
Mm.
You know, so maybe they've come on me now, hopefully, I don't know.
It's going to be interesting though, because like the last few bites have all been at night, and that's what
Yeah,
we've been
I
told.
know.
Both of yours have been in the
In
day,
day.
so
Yeah.
is it one of those which is going to switch now? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to go back to being day bites or whatnot, you know? So the night's going to tell. I mean, obviously I had my bites in the night and at first light, so
Yeah.
is it going to be the same for me, or is it going to change and it might happen for you in the night? But
Yeah.
it's everything's been spot on at the moment, and it's nice. I just won £145 on my football bet as well, which is a right result, and that means one thing: it's Chinese time, isn't it?
Yeah, Mike's treating us to Chinese.
Oh,
he
is it
said,
Mike?
Yeah,
Oh.
he did say that. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll have lobster.
Yeah, so will I.
Yeah, oh,
Lobster thermidor, I think
Yeah.
that's the one, isn't it?
yeah. Saying I ain't having
Yeah.
crayfish. Not that.
Yeah.
Mike's paying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Chinese time. We're going to watch a little bit of the old Man City Arsenal.
Is Mike still here? Or has
I
he
don't
gone?
know. I don't know
Haven't
where
seen
he's gone.
him.
I don't know. Let's have a look. Mike.
Yeah. Don't know where he's
We
gone.
don't know where he's gone.
Yeah.
Probably ended up in someone's barrow on the old lake or something.
Yeah.
But the yeah, like we said, Man City Arsenal going to sit in the bivvy now, and
Order
hopefully
some Chinese.
Arsenal will win. Order a Chinese, and if we catch any more, we'll come straight back to you. But yeah, at the moment, it's going really well, isn't it?
Yeah, we're pleased with it. Got
So-
some good footage. Yeah,
But the
it's good.
but the other, I'm definitely going to go and get my jacket. I think.
Yeah, at least the rain stopped as well.
Yeah.
You know, we
I think for
were
easy.
promised rain today and it didn't happen,
Yeah,
which we were grateful for. So
yeah, cool.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I think we'll leave it there. We'll come back to you in the morning. Obviously, if anything happens in the night, you know, we'll get the lights out, etc., and do some filming. But but yeah, like I said, jacket, Chinese, Arsenal. Let's do it.
right. I'm here with Mango as a bailiff down here, and he's going to just run through some of the rules that we have to contend with on the lake. No matter where you go, there's rules, whether you like them or not. We have to have rules, otherwise there'll be just chaos. Right, Mango, so if you could just tell me what some of the basic rules are here that people would expect when they come down here.
Mainly the basic ones is that we don't allow any leaders of any type, safe zone leaders
Yeah.
or lead core or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's just got literally, it's just your main line through, but then we do ask for 24 inches of tubing
Yeah,
to be on your main line
yeah,
up. Secondly, all carp anglers, especially nowadays and that like down here as well, is that you must have a carp care kit.
right. Yeah.
Your own
Yeah, you can
individual, there's
understand
no
that, can't you?
sharing in it.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, Barry, it should. If you love your carp fishing, then why not look after them?
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
They can go on to 40, 50, 60 years old,
Yeah.
some of these carp and that lot, so just look after them and everything.
Yeah, if you don't look after them, then they're not there for the next anglers when they come along, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
we have a duty of care for them. Really.
When I say you get the bigger fish, the
Yeah.
older they get, hopefully the more weight they're going to put on.
yeah.
The other, a lot of issues we do get down, unfortunately, on these lakes is that, because as you can see, we've got islands out in front of you.
yeah,
We don't like it when we do our rounds, is when people are around the other side. They've got their rods out
Yeah.
and they're around the other side.
yeah.
We do get tethered fish, and that is the main reason why, is because
Yeah.
people have left their swims and gone off round the corner to
And
have a
you-
social with their mates.
You speak to these people, and if they keep on doing it, you ban
We give them a warning first of all,
Yeah.
and things. We're not that harsh, but we give them a warning. But then, if they persist, then we're going to
Yeah.
ask them to leave, because at the end of it, it's some of these fishing are irreplaceable.
Yeah,
It's
I've
gonna
been
take
fishing here
years.
for must be coming on 10 years now, and I've got to say I've seen very minimal problems down here. You know, I can't say I've seen any mega things, but I'm not here as long as you are. You're here every day, and I think it's well run by the bailiffs and the owners. I think it really is. They've got something right, because everybody tends to stay in their own area of water.
Yeah. Well, we have got it well marked out for the anglers for their boundaries. That was done years ago, and since then it has dropped all the problems of
Yeah.
people casting into other people's waters. But as you can appreciate, this is a day ticket water,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some of the things we do see. When we did allow lead core and safe zone leaders, every time, every day, you could virtually guarantee it, somebody would have a lead clip
Yeah.
at the top.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to connect the proper connections or anything. So at the end of it, we was getting so many fish tethered with their clips and everything, dragging the leads around. So our owners, they just banned it. They
That's
said,
fair
no,
enough. I understand that, and so should every other angler understand that.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's not masses of rules on here, but it's
I've
just a
noticed
lot
that.
of it is common sense and things. But at the end of it, like I say, if it is your sport and you love it, then why not look after them?
Well, most people we see down there when we fish, they've been all right. You know, some of them might not be top anglers, but they seem to abide by the rules.
The good thing nowadays is with the social media is a very strong, powerful
It
tool.
is, isn't it? Yeah.
Where we have had to ban people for having 3 rods out, fishing out their swings continuously. It's straight onto Facebook, you know, or stuff. And you come down, the next lot will come down, they say, no, we read all your rules and we've also looked at all your YouTubes or Facebooks, and we know. So it has helped us out a big deal with social media.
Okay, mate. Well, there you have it, from the horse's mouth as such. If you come to Cottington, abide by the rules and you'll be okay, but if you start flouting the rules, someone will come and speak to you.
Right, we're with the governor of Cottington Lakes. Well, one part of the governor. There was a brother called Darren as well. Basically just about a bit of info really, so I'll come to you, Gary. Right, the complex. How many lakes exactly have you got on the complex?
Well, first of all, just want to say welcome to Cottington Lakes.
Right, okay, yeah.
In total, there's 8 lakes on the complex.
Right,
We've got 2 specimen waters and 1 general runs water, and the rest are down for course fishing.
Oh, right, okay, right, so you've got quite a mixed bag on site then.
Yeah.
So basically then, well, you could start here then from a beginner and work your way up to the specimen lakes, I
Absolutely.
Right,
We've got lakes on here which are suitable for starting off complete novice, building right up to the lakes behind us, where you're looking at sort of £40 plus.
Yeah, exactly, and there's some impressive ones in here, and that's why I'm here a lot. But right, so how did you get the complex then? I know it's a family thing, but for the viewers and that, how did it all start? Like, you know.
Well, what you see now was 30 years ago farmland. Our family have farmed here for 3-4 generations.
Oh, bloody hell.
And we took the decision, or my father took the decision about 30 years ago to look at diversifying out of arable farming for this part of the land, and looked at fishing. Started out with trout lakes, and we've sort of evolved to the situation that you see today with the carp fishing. Yeah.
Right, because obviously, like for the viewers watching, obviously the specimen lake there's actually, well, I call it 3 because you've got the old lake, new lake, and then Christine, but Pepper is actually 1.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously the old lake, that's been here for a while, hasn't it? And then you've dug this, haven't you? So
that's right. So
this
is the newer section of Pepper, as you rightly say. For management and ticket sales purposes, we split it into the old section and the new section.
Right, okay.
The old section was one of the first lakes to be dug.
Oh, so that's the historic one.
It's been here for a long time. The new section was dug about 15 years ago. But as I say, the whole complex, what you see behind you with all the trees, the maturity of the sort of the landscaping, this is all something which has happened in a comparatively short space of time.
Right, hasn't. I mean, to be fair, you wouldn't think it when you look at all the trees growing.
I know.
And I mean, the islands. I mean, obviously, you guys can't see that at the moment, but the islands, etc., all the trees, they're all fully grown, etc. It doesn't look like it's that old, does it?
It's
really?
matured fantastically well, and the sort of the habitat that we have here for the wildlife is a really good indicator of the health of the water as well.
Right, okay. You've got some rare wildlife here, isn't it? I know we've got beavers. I know we've got a few of those. What else have we got though in the wildlife? I mean, obviously
beavers. Yeah, we do have a few beavers. We've had to take some precautions for them. But yeah, I mean, other wildlife that we've got here, kingfishers.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I think there's one over there actually nesting.
There may well be, yeah. We've got probably about, I'd say at least 8 nesting pairs here of kingfishers.
So quite good for wildlife.
You've probably seen we've got herons on site, small heronry, snakes, grass snakes,
So if you don't like snakes, there you go. Like, you know,
even down to small insects, you know, butterflies. You know, it is a thriving, very diverse habitat.
It's a very picturesque. There's a lot of wildlife. Obviously, you guys, when you come here, you'll see obviously what's in front of me, etc. You can see it's a lot of wildlife. There's a lot of nature. like it's not a nature reserve, but it looks that way, doesn't it? Because it's left that way for them, like, you know. So, plans for the future. I mean, obviously, me and Dad keep trying to say get another specimen lake, etc. What's going on with that? Any more? Are you looking at, or are you going to keep it more as a family complex, or? So I know you're family oriented.
Yes,
I know that.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But obviously the viewers don't. So
we keep looking at options to extend, but at the moment, those plans are going to be a few years away. You mentioned earlier about coming down, starting as a novice angler and working your way through. And you're right, we very much want to see families coming down, you know, getting the kids interested, you know, starting from a young age and then enjoying their fishing right the way up until, you know, they're starting either on specimen lakes or, you know, if they want to do match fishing, then towards match fishing, you know, whatever their interest or wherever their interest lies. But it's really about getting individuals and families involved more than sort of competition scene, if you like. You know, that's where what we are driven by.
Right, okay, I see what you're saying. Just going to ask a few, I mean, obviously Dad's gone through with Mango with rules and stuff like that, obviously. I know the rules obviously come from you, the family, etc., and from the bailiffs, but while we've got you here, what is your pet hate with carp anglers? What don't you want to see? It's your lake, you know, obviously you walk around a lot. What is the main irritation that you don't like, and so that we can warn people, you know, to either stop doing it or just be careful, or, you know?
I would say there's actually two.
Right, go on then.
Two pet hates. One is some anglers just cannot take their litter home.
Right.
The amount of rubbish that we collect, and we've got wheelie bins on site for people to get rid of their rubbish. They don't have to take it home. They're at the entrance, so you know, bag it up, pop it in the wheelie bins. It's all sorted. But you know, it's not pleasant for other anglers then coming into swims to find other people's rubbish.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a massive hazard for the wildlife.
Right. Okay.
So that's one pet hate. The other thing that is a frustration is that the rules that we have are driven by the fact that we're a day ticket fishery. That means any standard of angler can be coming down here. So we have a set of rules that we believe protect the welfare of the fish. And that's a big issue for us, is protecting their welfare. So when people start to bend the rules, break the rules, and not comply with what we've set out, that's a huge irritation, because you know, we don't know what skill set they have. They can be basically a novice angler. They could be a very experienced angler. We have no way of knowing. So we have a set of rules that basically protects the fish, bearing in mind the lowest common denominator of angler that we might get on site. And that's obviously not just with the specimen lakes, it's all of our lakes.
No, that's fair enough. No, that makes sense. I must admit, though, it is, you know, it's not just a cliche because I'm here and I'm here a lot, but I mean, I don't see a lot of rubbish in. I'm not here all the time, I will say that, compared to other fisheries that I've been to where I've had to bag it up before I even set my rods up. And the other one thing I'll say as well, you ain't got many rats here, or if any.
No, so, again, I mean, to be honest with you, the rat situation is probably more down to the wildlife taking them. The herons will take them, owls, you know, the raptors that are on site, they'll all take rats, and they're a much better deterrent than anything else. You know, every so often, you know, I wouldn't say that they're not an endangered species or anything like that, but moles that we get, phenomenal. So you've seen the mole hills everywhere.
I've seen them. No, it is rich with wildlife, the place. So, you know, basically, lads, it is rich with wildlife. So take your litter home. You know what I mean? Gary is the governor here with his brother Darren. They have a bailiff team here as well. And if you get caught breaking these rules, there probably will be consequences. You know, let's keep it clean, safe, and tidy for everyone. And then everyone could enjoy their fishing. Would you agree with that, Gary?
Absolutely. That's, you know, that's what we want to see, is anglers coming down, enjoying themselves, and hopefully coming back.
Right, okay. Well, there it is. You've heard it from the governor himself. So if you see this man walking round, make sure you're doing it all right, lads, yeah? Right, we're going to come on to the rig section side now. And to be fair, this is where it can be won and lost with a lot of fisheries. If you don't get this bit right, you're going to be sitting behind motionless rods. Obviously every fishery has rules and you have to apply to them. So we'll start with the main line. Obviously, because this is a small lake, I tend to use a fluorocarbon. Now I've got £20 fluorocarbon on that, so obviously basically where I slack line a lot on here, it enables it to sink obviously with the contours. There's a lot of troughs here where they had the diggers in taking out the clay obviously to build this lake. So I use the fluorocarbons, hopefully it sits down into them troughs. As you can see there's a tubing rule on this lake, no leaders at all. But like from my last videos, as you can see, I like to use the tungsten stuff. Now, I'm a massive lead core fan, but a lot of lakes are banning it now, and the reason being is because unfortunately people are not, they're not either, what's the word, they're looking up at how to tie it, and they keep putting like swivels either end, which if you crack off, it means it's a death rig out there. I mean, the fish ain't got hands. You've got to remember that, people, you know, the fish have got fins. It's not like us, we can just, you know, pull something out of our hands, they can't. So obviously I've gone onto the tungsten range of tubing now. For example, obviously if you imagine I'm slack lining, that's tight lining like that, but when you slack line, because it's tungsten, you can see straight away the weight of it wants to actually lay flat. So if you imagine the contours of the lake, it will go straight over that. So I'll do an example just over my knee, say it's tight lining like that. Now I'm going to let that just go slack. It's going obviously with the contours straight away with my knee, so imagine that out into the lake. So that's why I've actually gone on to, and to be fair, I've been using it a while now. And in fact, this is the rig that caught drop scale at 44.5. If you come further down, you can see I've got the tubing, I've got a safety clip there. Now this is where, if you do this bit wrong, again, it could be a death rig. If it zooms in there, you can actually see the tail rubber is only just nicked onto the safety clip. So basically what happens is when that fish picks it up, I want that lead, there you go, it's off. So there is no harm to the fish whatsoever, just one shake of his head and then you're in direct contact with that fish. There's no lead banging around or nothing. Now if I put the lead back on like I've just done, just put that tubing back in there. Now I've rammed that tail rubber on, which a lot of people do, yeah? You see how easy it was for me to get the lead off? Now look, it's not going nowhere. So imagine you have an accident now and that cracks off there. That fish now is towing all that. Look, it ain't coming off. I'm swinging that right round. So that's what I mean. So you don't have to push them on so far. If you just do it again, you know, we nick it on like so. Just pull that tubing back in. This is how easy it is for it to come off. It's so easy, guys. There's so much information out there how to set this kit up, and a lot of people, they still choose not to, and this is why unfortunately now, you know, these fisheries have got to come out with rules, because unfortunately there's idiots out there that won't listen. So we come down there, there's your safety clip, and then there's your snap link. That's what we always use. I don't use the quick link swivels, I always use snap links. And when you come down there, just one of the many coated braids that are on the market. I believe this one's around a £20 version. And then you come down and you can see a size 6 hook there with a bit of shrink tube on it. The bait wise would be a creamy toffee boilie, which I think Dad's already gone through. How simple is that? It's such a simple rig, and if it's done right, like there, if you copy that, you can't get any trouble with it. You know, when they ask you to wind your rods in, they can see you've got your tubing on, the rubbers are all on correctly. Like I say, you know, to a lot of anglers, fish don't have hands, they have fins, and if an accident happens, if a fish picks that up and it can't get rid of that lead, that's a dead fish, you know, because if it gets the tubing and the line wrapped round all the roots, the owners are not going to know about it, the bailiffs, no one. That's a dead fish, and there's so many fish in here, like up to, I think there's even 2 50-pounders in this lake. You know, last thing we want to be doing is killing them. So there's the rig components. Like I say, it's not a plug. Yes, I am a sponsored angler. I use a lot of the Deception range, but like I say, it's not a plug. There's so many companies out there that they practically do the same stuff. It's just your choice, isn't it, really? It's just a bit like, you know, when you go to a sports shop, some people like Adidas, some people like Nike, innit? And it's the same in fishing. It's who you want to use. But if you read the instructions on the back of the packages, it will tell you how to set it up. Even I had to do that at one point in my, you know, angling hobby, and this is why a lot of fisheries now are banning lead core. But there's the next substitute, that one there, and if you just look how heavy it is, and that is one of the reasons why I think me and Dad do well on here, because you keep the line out of the way of them fish and they don't even know they're being fished to. So there it is. It's quite a simple rig, very basic as usual, and like I say, if you keep to the rules, keep to rigs like this, you will be successful at Cottington. Keep rolling, roll. I'm only joking. Yeah. Did you like that? Yeah. Okay. Right, coming to the end of the session now. All jokes aside, and what a session it's been. I mean, Dad's had a 15 and a 17. They are some of the smaller ones, but grateful, mate, getting them
well
bites.
pleased with it. Well pleased. Yeah.
You know, they're bites, mate. At the end of the day, we're into winter, even though the sun's just popped out now. Obviously, I was very lucky in having drop scale at 44. I weren't expecting that with a camera crew, etc.
I've got a question. That you said it's the second biggest fish in the lake. When Owen had
it's the biggest actually now.
It's the biggest, isn't it?
It's actually the biggest now.
Yeah, because Owen had it at 42, 43.
43 had it. So yeah, actually at the moment it is probably the biggest.
It's the biggest fish,
but
isn't it?
I will say, I reckon the big girl's probably 46, 47 now. Anyway,
Yeah, when she comes out.
Because on an average, if you look at the other one, she's normally in the summer 40, 41. Now we're in winter, she's 44.
Yeah.
And the other one's 43. When you do the maths, I would say it's probably upper 40s now. But
Probably,
until it gets cold, we can't really say that, I suppose. But been a great session, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm well pleased with it.
Yeah.
Got some good footage on the filming and that, and the weather wasn't kind to us. It was cold at night and we had a lot of rain, but today, as you can see, the sun's come out because we're going home.
It's always the way, isn't it? But yeah, as you can see behind us there, very quiet now. And that's one thing as well, lads. If some of you fish in the week, as you can see, look, everyone's going home. So try and book on in the week if you can.
See that bloke had a 31 over there, then he putting all that bait out.
Yeah, just a bit of banter on this bit. Obviously, during the footage, we told you, obviously, not to use a lot of bait. Most of you should know that it's winter. This morning, there was loads of fish over there in front of the two fellas in 15 and 16. Absolutely loads of them.
Yeah, I'll see him.
Anyway, I can't repeat what he was saying, but just future reference, sound travels fast across water, and it's not a big lake. Not that they were saying nothing about us, but they're saying I've had enough of the lake, there's fish all over me all weekend, you know, what am I doing wrong as such, you know, and all like that. Wound the rod in, I watched him cast out, and he actually cast a bait to an area where, funny enough, he didn't put any bait.
Yeah.
And he was there 5 minutes and he had a 31 pounder. And I thought, oh, you've learned. You know, 48 hours or 46 hours in, he's learned. Put the rod back out went another 50 to 70 boilies. So, obviously didn't learn. But there's the theory that we're trying to say. You know, the bloke caught a 31 by default, but didn't learn from it. And this is what we're trying to say to you guys. If you're going to come to Cottington and fish in the winter, if you're going to stove it in, you're better off taking that money and going down the pub. Because, you know, you'll have a memory from that. You ain't going to have a memory from here, are you? You ain't going to want to come back. But I think we'll cut it from there, mate. It's been a great session.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Elite is very soon. All the lads are going to be on here.
Yeah.
So no doubt hard work with that as usual.
That's right.
And but yeah, we're going to go home now and see the girls, and see mum and see Faye and the kids and the dog. Obviously, you didn't see the dog this time because dogs are not allowed. So unfortunately, I have to leave Teddy at home. But thanks to the cameraman Mike on the banter and everything, it's been great. Obviously,
if you want us to come to a lake near you,
yeah, there's something
give us a ring.
Dad thought about, and if there's any lakes near you, you know, that some of you guys would like to come forward with, you know what I mean, we're more than welcome to come. And who knows, you know, like I say, if you subscribe to the channel and that, once we hit a certain amount of subscribers, I mean, we could probably do like a competition or something. We can actually pick one of you guys to actually come live, and we'll put you lot in front of the camera, and I'll take a step back. That would be good. And but maybe we can do something like that.
Yeah,
so
it'd be good.
Subscribe to the channel. Maybe we'll do a little competition or something, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's over from me.
And over from me.
Ta-da.
Bye.